We have our next live in-studio guest. It's an interesting twist on what we normally have here. So welcome Mark Sickman from Rope the Musical.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks very much.
Great.
Well, I beg to differ a little bit there, Boss Daddy, because Mark is here from the business we call show.
That's right.
Okay, and it is business, is it not?
It very much is. Launching a production, particularly a musical, is almost like starting a small business from scratch. You have all the elements: the accounting, the publicity, the union agreements, the leasing of the space, the payroll, the accounting, the bookkeeping. Sometimes you get involved with investors, too. So launching any kind of a theatrical production, particularly a musical, is very, very much a business.
Yeah, I can see that. And well, tell us a little bit about Rope the Musical. Let's talk about the musical first, then let's talk about the business behind it.
Sure. Rope the Musical was presented in New York. It's an off-Broadway style show. It was presented in New York at the Robert Moss Theater in the East Village and had a very successful run there. Based on that success, we are bringing the show to San Diego, and this will take place in the first part of next year.
Great.
Wow.
Great. So
I've got my headshot and my resume right here.
Andrea wants to audition, which is fine.
Yes.
Barry, how about you?
You know what?
Yeah.
No.
Do you sing? Do you sing and dance?
Do I sing and dance? Okay. You got any other options?
We tap dance every Tuesday, do we not?
Okay,
when we do the show.
That's true, but I talk. Okay. That's what I do. Okay, so well, you know what, Mark, why don't we talk a little bit about your background? How did you get to where you are?
I've been writing plays since the late 1990s, and I came into playwriting with a career in advertising. I worked for very large advertising agencies back in Chicago, Leo Burnett, Foote Conan Belding, some of the big names. And I was very lucky because I was very deeply involved in music production, dramatic production, the creation of sales films and things of that nature, which gives a person a little bit of a background for getting into theatrical productions. So I moved to San Diego after 11 years in Chicago and had a small agency here. And that was started in 1984. And in 1996, I decided to devote myself exclusively to theatrical productions.
Great. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170, theanswer.com. Give us a tweet at CloseUpSD or find our page on Facebook. You can email me at barrycloseupsandiego.com. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-host, Andrea Kay, Urban Miaris, and our guest is Mark Sickman from Rope the Musical. So
now tell us, what is Rope all about?
Rope is a Western. There haven't been many Western musicals. I think Annie Get Your Gun is probably the last one I've seen.
Yeah.
The story takes place in 1895, and it takes place in a little town which I created called Summit City, Arizona. Very briefly, the hero of the play is a professional hangman.
Oh.
And he is called the Prince of Hangmen because he has successfully executed over 90 people.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
My kind of guy.
Yeah.
Don't get the idea that he's a brute.
He's not?
He is not a brute. In fact, he has the light touch.
Okay.
He has the light touch when it comes to hanging. He decides on the very day of this hanging that's supposed to take place in Summit City, Arizona, that he is going to retire. Well, that isn't such a great announcement to make, except there's a little bit of a complication. His wife, Mildred, all these years has been his press agent. And she is the one who has created the legend of the Prince of Hangman. So when William decides...
There's always a woman behind the man.
So when William makes the announcement that he's going to retire, she is absolutely shocked. and because she sees the end of her career coinciding with the end of his. And that's where it really gets interesting.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you too much.
I have to interject here because I think Andrea would be the perfect Mildred. Anybody that stands behind the hangman has got to be good for Andrea, okay?
You do know me well.
I do. So, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
But,
Barry, are you a baritone?
Baritone.
No, you know what?
Let's do a few bars.
No,
Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
No. You know, let's see. There's many things you'll see me do. One of them that you won't is putting me behind karaoke. Okay.
Okay. All right.
What was the inspiration for this? Because that is a very interesting plot line and story.
Well, I have some other shows that are running in various parts of the country, and it happened that I was in Arizona a couple of years ago talking to a couple of actors, and one of them said, why don't we do a Western? Why don't we do a Western? Because we're here in Arizona, and it seems like that might go over well here. And I thought about it a little bit, and almost by accident I stumbled on to the historical facts about a man named George Maledon, who was indeed historically known as the Prince of Hangmen. And so I took those historical facts and then spun the whole story of Rope the Musical out of that.
Wow. Awesome. I can't wait to see this. And I don't consider myself typically like a Western kind of gal, but it just sounds so fun. I just love the idea behind it.
That's part of the charm of this. You hear a story about a hanging and a hangman, you'd think that must be pretty gruesome. In fact, it's quite funny. And I'm not saying it doesn't have its very serious moments, but it's a good combination of comedy and drama and music.
Well, that's what makes for a really good story. In terms of the business side of it, I got addicted to this dopey TV show called Smash. How realistic was that in terms of the business that was around getting a production going?
I am not familiar with the show Smash.
You didn't watch it? Wow.
I'm sorry to say that.
Angelica Houston, and I thought it was... I love musical theater, and I love theater in general, but I was really curious from the business standpoint how accurate it was. So if you didn't watch the show, then maybe just tell us what it's like from a business standpoint to do this.
The thing that hovers over any producer's head during the pre-production and production process is ticket sales. You absolutely must sell tickets in order to pay for the production. And it's quite expensive to produce a show. For instance, the typical off-Broadway show costs $250,000 to produce. Wow. And it's a very, very complex process that it usually involves investors and attorneys and the SEC. And so my production here in San Diego is not at that level. It doesn't need to be, because this is not New York. But in producing something like this, you do run into tremendous number of business challenges. If it's an equity show, you have to deal with the actors union. If you have,
I'm non-equity, by the way. Make it easier on you.
Of course, you have to have a ticket selling operation. You have to link up with brown paper tickets or Ticketmaster or somebody like that, and that's a relatively complex thing to do. And you have to have accountants, and you have to have, of course, your entire staff, which includes actors and production people. You have to rent the theater, and you have to have a lease, and you want to have a lawyer to look at the lease. So
it's far more complicated than just holding a casting session and
exactly right.
blocking out the steps.
Exactly right. Now, you have these wonderful places like the Old Globe, La Jolla Playhouse, Signet Theater. Those are very, very solidly run businesses, as well as being great artistic venues. They're very solid businesses as well.
Interesting. So what can we do to help you out in your production? I'd love to see us find a way to get behind you and help you promote Rope. Whatever we can do. What can we do to help you out?
Without getting too commercial, I'll tell you what I am doing. I am making presentations to businesses downtown, trying to get them to bring their employees to Rope as an engagement or team building, a team building event. I'm talking to various churches and community groups, organizations that do bring people together for team building and engagement, and trying to encourage them to come as a group. So group sales is something that I'm working on right now, and businesses are my prime target for that.
Great. Well, we can certainly help you out with that. That's all we do is talk to small business.
Mm-hmm.
So any way we can do it, let's put our heads together and figure that out.
I really appreciate that.
So, well, we're starting to run short on time. Tell our listeners how they can learn more about Rope the Musical and what you do.
The best thing is to go to the website, ropethemusical.com. It's that simple, ropethemusical.com. That gives you a complete overview of the show. It has a snippet of the music, tells about the background, quotes some of the reviews and industry comments and things like that we've gotten. That gives you a really good feel for it. And then we're also on Facebook. So if you're a Facebook user, we'd love to have you visit our Facebook page and like us and tell your friends to like us, because we're just starting that process and it's starting to build, but we can always use more friends and more likes.
Great. Well, I love what you're doing, and probably just as importantly, I can't wait to see Andrea get on her hands and knees and beg to be a part of it.
Who do I know can put me through some advanced singing lessons immediately, since I don't sing?
Both Barry and Andrea. Okay. And there's always room in the chorus.
Yeah, I'll probably be begging to get out the back door, okay?
You're going to be there lip syncing right along with me, Boss Daddy.
That's true. That's true. Right. So, hey, thanks for being with us, Mark. We look forward to all the follow-up and see what we can do together.
I appreciate it very much.
Great. This is Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Send us a tweet at CloseUpSD, or just find our page on Facebook. You can always email me at barry@closeupsandiego.com. Let me know what you think. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.